leave our discussion of markets without talking a little bit about a sector that's been totally destroyed, and that is hospitality and their subset markets.
Yeah. Yeah, that's decimated. It'd be interesting how it comes back in business areas like cities that thrived on hotel rooms for business travelers, as well as the leisure travels like Florida, Las Vegas. But then there's the subsets like the amusement parks, the theaters. Maybe it's one thing to come back. Somebody made the comment, I think it was last evening, I was watching someone on one of the news shows saying about, it'd be one thing to get the economy back up and having things like your optometrist opening, where you go in and get an eye appointment, it's you and the doctor, that type of thing, as opposed to a couple hundred of you in a movie theater.
Yeah.
That's why they're saying it'll be a phased opening of the economy. That's a lot of the hospitality industry involves a lot of people in an area. So I think they're going to be impacted short term, and I think it's going to have some long-term impact. Well, one of the things too is conventions, a big component of hospitality. How many of those not only are being impacted because their time frame overlap with the virus, but how many are going to change the way they're doing conventions? I've already participated in some regional conferences that are totally online.
Yeah. And part of that's going to be driven by what companies are allowing.
Yeah.
I remember as the pandemic was gaining steam within our country, one of the reasons that a lot of conferences in our industry were being canceled was, yes, they were worried about spread, but more so they were having so many people withdraw because their companies were prohibiting them, employees, from attending these conferences.
Yeah, most definitely.
And so, hotel industry is, from the AEC perspective, I think it's quiet for a year. It's a lot of developers are active in it, as we discussed with some other market sectors. The loss of wealth, I think, is going to limit what happens construction-wise in the coming years. Do you feel comfortable getting on a plane right now? Will you in 3 months or 6 months?
That's a good question. Will I in 3 months? I don't know. That's a good question.
And a lot of industries are grappling with this right now. Somebody emailed me a report about cultural institutions like museums trying to figure out when people will feel safe in a museum again.
Yep. Yeah.
And
you and I've talked about it. What about like spectator sports?
Yeah.
You got 50,000 people in a stadium. When does that come back?
And you're all yelling.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sorry, I'm not sitting an entire baseball game or football game with a mask on.
It'll be interesting. I don't know how it impacts that, which then what's the next step? How does it impact designing and building those facilities going forward?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I know the answer.
Yeah. And, a subset of hospitality is restaurants. And I have my favorite restaurants. I wonder how many of them are going to be there on the back end of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a major issue. I'm excited to see some of them actually are thriving with takeouts. Some. But at least they have some revenue coming in. But yeah, that's going to be an issue. I think you're going to see a lot of restaurants closing after that.
I do too. I actually just read, I don't remember which chain it was, but one of the national restaurant chains is already working to take all their booths and elevate partitions. So basically everybody gets a private space. So you don't have to worry about the person next to you coughing on you.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. But maybe the restaurants of the future are designed totally differently to allow them to function during something like we're experiencing right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's going to have an impact on design and construction. Good point.
Yeah.